So up to this point, Logan has essentially lost almost everything. The entire society as he knew it before, gone. The Avengers and most of other heroes also gone. His complete way of life has been ultimately altered, and Logan will never be the same. Because picking up an entire 2 decades later, 20 years after the giant catastrophe of Asteroid M, which completely wiped out any technology on Earth and a lot of the heroes with it, it seems like these 20 years really haven't been that kind to Logan, with him looking almost extremely more aged than he realistically should be with only 20 years. But still, he's rocking a full gray beard and essentially has his old man Logan style. But it seems like everything isn't just all doom and gloom, because over the past 20 years, there's been certain little strong havens across the world, one in particular named the Light Shadow, where people gather together and try to live a normal life despite of everything that's going on. Especially thanks to Forge, the mutant that can essentially create anything with technology. Over the 2 decades, he got the power working in some capacity, powering up this little strip of land, which is cool. I mean, getting to see all these people, and especially Logan, be content and maybe even happy with this little life they've created here is a good thing, because as we will find out, this is the only happy moment that he's going to have here and right now in this comic, and presumably for the future to come, because later on, things get pretty wild, and Logan, true to this comic's name, is going to have to seek revenge. And with that, we move over a week later where we see Logan in his iconic costume, but again looking older and more aged. And this place, the structure, this building right here, he hasn't been here in an entire year, and immediately he can tell something is off as he sniffs the air and smells the smell of death everywhere. Rotting animal carcasses just strung up around. And this right here, this action is very deliberate, because as Logan continues to walk into this building, he finds Victor Creed, the Sabretooth, who himself has seen better days, missing an arm, an eye, and is essentially in a wheelchair. Because Sabretooth is not only depowered, but Logan just keeps him here for fun, almost just to torture him for everything that Sabretooth has done before. Because if you remember previously, Logan worked with Forge to create a device that can nullify his mutant powers, letting Wolverine not only defeat Sabretooth, but imprison him and keep him here as some sort of guinea pig, some sort of experiment. Because for Sabretooth, a quick death would be way too simple. For all the things that he has done to Logan over the years, Logan has been drawing his revenge out over the last 2 decades. And here we see a very interesting interaction, where we see the Sabretooth going on to almost egg and taunt Logan to continue to torture and hurt him, with him going on to say, well then, I guess it's time for you to start cutting more pieces off. But it seems like the Wolverine had different plans for this visit here, as he goes on to say, not today. And here the tension starts to rise within this little cabin here, Sabretooth getting visibly angry that Logan is seemingly going soft on him, but Logan goes on to remind him that no, this isn't forgiveness, that's something that will never exist between the two. The reason why he killed the other mutants, Deadpool, Colossus, Omega Red, and so on, was because they had it coming. It was revenge. But this here between Wolverine and Sabretooth, this is something else entirely. It's justice. Justice of the shared history these two have together and everything that Sabretooth has done to Logan over the hundreds of years that they have been alive. But still, Sabretooth, after all this time just living at the mercy of Logan, goes on to say, then what are you waiting for? Get on with it and just do it already. Kill me. Which, yes, makes sense in the state that the Sabretooth is now. Death will probably be better than being tortured and left in his random abandoned place by himself, just waiting to die, with no powers or anything. But it also serves a dual purpose, as you will soon see shortly. But Logan here just came to check up on him. He isn't interested in fighting or torturing the Sabretooth anymore, as he packs up his stuff and goes on to leave, telling him that he's not interested. And in about a year again, when Logan comes back, maybe he'll feel different about it this time. But right after Wolverine goes and leaves, things become more clear. As Sabretooth goes on to speak out to an audience we don't get to see, he goes on to say, it worked. Normally he can sniff out anything, but the smell of death, all the dead animals around, overpowers his senses. It's too tough to cut through. So the Wolverine didn't know you were here. But now you know what he truly is, and what you're up against, as we actually get to see who he is talking to. The Omega Clan, 4 distinct beings. Those being the Omega Clan, different programmed clones with different power sets based on the genetic material of Omega Red, someone who Logan previously killed, and also a hidden 4th figure in the back, who becomes very interesting later on. But even after seeing that little confrontation firsthand, the group of villains here don't really seem moved or fazed about Logan, even going on to say that he didn't seem like much to me, just another old man haunted by his past in a world that no longer exists. Of course, being very overconfident, which might even lead to their downfall and death later on, with Victor Creed, the Sabretooth, even going on to recognize this, saying maybe the Omega Clan is made up of sterner and tougher stuff than Omega Red himself, but I swear the last thing you should be is overconfident. But once again, they don't really care what Creed has to say. They all came here with one goal on their mind: revenge. Vengeance for their fallen father, the original Omega Red, who Logan has of course killed and hung his body from a tree. And when we see all the villains here made up their mind and ready to go after him, Sabretooth almost gives his blessing, telling them happy hunting. Which is ironic because, as we will soon see, this is going to be anything but happy, because later on we see Logan still in costume, just stopping to rest a little bit with his horse, when suddenly his senses start to pick up someone, movement, which of course it's the Omega clan having tracked Logan down, getting ready to kill him, or try their best to kill him, even though Wolverine at this point in time is not virtually unkillable, but very hard to unless you know what you're doing. But maybe after all these years, Logan, who looks visibly aged with the gray hair and all, maybe his healing factor has gotten weaker, maybe he is easier to beat. And so with everyone getting in their battle stances, Logan still being confused about what all this is, goes on to say, so who are you guys even supposed to be? The new Omega Reds? But as we will find out, no, not quite. Each of the three beings right here have different powers and names. Yes, you have the one who obviously looks like Omega Red, then you have Omega Black and Omega White. All clones from the original genetic material from Omega Red, and they are here for revenge. And eventually they seemingly get the upper hand on Logan. It's a 3-on-1. Logan, probably haven't been in combat in a while now, is a little rusty, as they all start to grab and infect Wolverine, infect him with a bunch of different diseases and poisons, because due to their power set, they can infect and control different pathogens, essentially poisoning Logan from the inside out, as we see his skin start to turn green and grotesque, coughing up copious amount of blood, and almost looking like it's working, killing him. But even still, Logan isn't just defenseless, as he goes on to use his very sharp adamantium claws to cut the arms off one of the robotic teens, before turning to the rest and calling out who's next. And seeing how Wolverine is still standing even after they did their trick and infected him, they realize, yes, maybe they did bite off more than they can chew. Maybe they underestimated Wolverine a little too much, because as Omega Black goes on to say, careful brother, he's quicker than I thought. We must come at him from both sides. With Logan still not even being worried about the situation, he says, whatever way you want, pal, it's fine with me. But I just have to know one thing. What's the little camera for? As we see a little orb floating in the background, recording or someone watching this entire interaction. But instead of immediately answering him, they both go to rush him once more. Again, getting the upper hand because it is still a 2-on-1, with Omega Black stabbing Logan through the chest, infecting him once more, causing him to get even greener and sicker due to the different diseases and plagues infecting his body. But Omega Black goes on to say, oh, that camera, that's just for our audience. But Wolverine, being a man of straight willpower and determination, and of course a very potent healing factor, just pushes through it all, pushing through the pain of his body being mutated and mutilated from the inside out. With him going on to say, well, in that case, since people are watching, is there anyone you want to say goodbye to? Reaching out while still being stabbed through the stomach and grabbing Omega Black. And this here just confuses him, because he goes on to say, I don't understand. I'm pumping 6 different toxins and hundreds of thousands of bacteria into you right now. Why won't you just die? And you know, Logan has a simple rebuttal, saying, isn't it obvious? It's cause I've just got really good manners. So I'll die, but you first. Popping his claws and shoving it straight through his head, killing Omega Black on the spot. And now with 2 down and only 1 more to go, we see the Omega Red successor jump into the fray to do a 1-on-1, which at this point, if you just seen you guys lose a 3v1, what makes you think you can do better on a 1-on-1? And instantly we see Wolverine get the upper hand, his healing factor slowly kicking back in and healing him back to full health as he goes and slashes this new Omega Red across the face, all while whoever is watching from that camera just stares on. But in the midst of their battle, this new Omega Red goes on to say, when he found us, we thought he was mad, but now I see the truth. He was right. You must be taken out in a race from this world, and I am going to be the one to do it. Still being overconfident that apparently he can go 1-on-1 with the Wolverine, but him plus all of the other Omega clan couldn't do 3-on-1. And we see him immediately pay for this as Wolverine lunges in, stabbing him through the chest and ending him right there on the spot. So yes, while pretty brutal, in this world where all the power went out and the Avengers and different hero groups, the other X-Men are all wiped out and gone, there is no longer a superhero, supervillain, there's only killed or be killed. And right now with this little group here, this Omega clan trying to kill Logan, Logan really had no other option but to defend himself and kill them instead. But there was one of the trio he didn't fully finish off yet, as we see him make his way back to Omega White, grabbing one of Omega Red's tendrils and wrapping it around his neck, because there was something that Omega Red said that Logan surely picked up on. Omega Red said when he found us, and now Logan simply wants to know who is he. But Omega White still just sticking to what he knows. He isn't just going to tell him who orchestrated this entire event, still trying to infect Logan with different poisons and toxins, making his skin turn back grotesque. But Logan, now seeing that this is going nowhere, he then decides to threaten him very effectively as he goes on to say, you didn't have to come after me. You chose this. And just know I can make this last all day because I'm the best there is at what I do. And here we see one of the clones of Omega Red utter 4 simple words. Creed. It was Creed. meaning the Sabretooth Victor Creed orchestrated this off in the beginning. Somehow in his little confinement, he sought out the Omega Clan and that fourth mysterious stranger to come and find Wolverine to kill and end him where Sabretooth failed. And now Logan, realizing that Sabretooth is still dangerous, he decides forget everything I said before, turning to the camera and saying out another very efficient threat, saying, I know you can hear me, so listen up. I changed my mind. You're not going to have to wait a year, Creed, because I'm going to be seeing you real soon. Obviously to the dismay of the Sabretooth as his plan failed. The Omega Clan just 3 more bodies on Logan's long kill list. Sabretooth even going on to continue to talk to this fourth mysterious stranger who stayed behind, saying I tried to warn them, but they just wouldn't listen. Do you see what he is? A force of nature, relentless and inevitable. Yeah, I played my part in making him what he is now, but I know now that that was a mistake and he has to be stopped. The Omega Clan were just replicas of the real thing, clones, and it's clear it's going to take more than poor copies of the original to bury the Wolverine. No, it'll take someone like you, someone who wants, who needs revenge just as bad as he does. It takes a vengeance that you just can't stop thinking about, a taste you simply just can't get out of your mouth. And I know you have it in you, I can see it. Hate burning deep within you. Honestly, I don't even know how you stand it. Him standing there breathing, living, while your father lies buried in the ground. As we finally get to see who this stranger he is talking to, the son of Colossus, who previously Logan murdered in cold blood. Now his son, all grown up over the last 20 years, is alive and well, looking strong and ready to take revenge, and might even be the one to finally put the Wolverine down, as we see him carrying an ominous and glowing sword on his back, which looks like and possibly could be Magic's soul sword. A magical artifact of great power, and wielded by someone as strong as Colossus' son, could spell a lot of trouble for Wolverine if they have to come head to head and blow for blow. But for now, that is something that we won't get to see as this comic and video comes to a close. If you enjoyed watching, leave a like, or subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. As always, this was the Hero Informer, and thank you for watching.